Lewis Hamilton has spread out about the crash in Barcelona, as he furnished special feedback about the car's behavior, which has thrown him within the limitations in Turn 2, however, with the one's tests being ironically worthwhile from crashes like the one from Hamilton. Is Ferrari going to put in force the feedback and construct a higher vehicle in 2025? And extra importantly, will it inform Hamilton's the usage of style greater than we should have at the start expected? One of the awesome transfers inside the data of the game has in the end materialized, and with Hamilton going via through an in-depth attempting out scheme. With Ferrari, few predicted that a crash of the magnitude like this one in Barcelona ought to have occurred to the seven-time global champion, although those mistakes are telling the crew hundreds greater than the motive force, actually now not developing a mistake. Due to the truth, they seem, for a motive, the riding stress is pushing the auto to, in fact, the limit and is mastering about its behavior. Ferrari may be clever to use the feedback from Hamilton because of the truth. Unlike Lear and SS, he is the usage of this car for the #1 time in his profession, and could tell if there can be some detail basically wrong with it. As of now, what has been stated is that Lewis is acclimatizing nicely to 3 exceptional additives of the SF23, or more exactly, to the Ferrari's cars in preferred, together with the start technique and releasing the C's. That is something that plagued the overall performance of the individual. He succeeded in Ferrari Carlos SS, and given the reality that it is a component that not regularly changes within the car over its evolution, it is awesome records. For Ferrari in ultra-modern, what desires to be extracted proper here as very essential data is that Hamilton is slowly, however definitely debunking myths that he would not in reality have a first-rate information of growing a car the way that Michael Schumacher did in Ferrari's glory days. Lewis has continuously lengthy beyond below the highlight from plenty of F1 experts in terms of the presenting great feedback about the car's behavior. But the truth that Mercedes didn't concentrate to him from day one while the floor technology began out is going to reveal that Hamilton does, in truth, recognize a issue, or with reference to what the auto needs, and what makes it inclined. This might be one of the motives why the 7-term worldwide champion has asked for some changes in the vehicle's developments, much like people with the pedals and the cockpit of the automobile. Mercedes wasn't very eager on paying attention to Lewis, and they felt like those were truly excuses for his declining common ordinary performance. However, the reality that Ferrari has opted to make the complicated pedal trade is going to show that they have complete take transport of as right within Hamilton's feedback. Moreover, Hamilton has gotten used to the braking tool, commonly due to the reality Ferrari makes use of wonderful discs than those in Mercedes. And even though Lewis crashed and ended his run all of a sudden with a 120 mph crash at the cease of turn 12, he stated outstanding impressions to the Ferrari engineers. This means that the automobile turned out to be not as horrific as they concept, and at the equal time as it scored worse consequences. As compared to 2022, it grew to be the only challenger at the grid, other than the RB21, to have obtained a race SS in Singapore. It's very crucial for Hamilton to get adjusted to unique stuff as well, which embody the TI manipulate weak component. This is a few factor that the 7-time worldwide champion struggled with plenty in Mercedes, and it's far been brought to the eye of Ferrari, who are now very inclined to artwork on this phase with Hamilton, whilst setting LIR on a certainly one-of-a-kind software after really 5 podiums in race wins in 2024, which might be ironically super. When you have examined how 2022 and 2023 ended for Hamilton, he finished at his profession low of 7th area, and there can be hundreds of catching as an entire lot, as do with Ferrari if he wants to compete on the front all over again. Vain to mention, the greatest opponent will take a seat down proper next to him inside the garage. Charles Lear, one of the satisfactory, qualifies at the grid, and the individual that has Sevra enjoy in bringing a midfield vehicle to the front row and managing to defend the region with a fierce warfare supplied from his issue. However, that is in that you need to assume times. If you're Ferrari, you are bringing a 7-time global champion into your camp and to expect that he might also sit down, decrease lower again, and take a look at LIR gathering all of the end result from the artwork. It truly is been completed inside the preceding off-season. Then you definitely are wondering. Without a doubt. Incorrect. Hamilton and Ferrari have moreover labored on the time management in Fiorano for a quick time body 19 kilometers due to the damp climate, and the beef and greet section that he is prolonged lengthy long gone via with the lovers and the racing. Engineer Riccardo Adami, however, the 1:00 kilometer check in Barcelona. It honestly goes to be determined up with a 2026 Pelly tire test, with the SF24 is going to assist Hamilton. Understand even extra about the auto's conduct. In the long time, this could be the primary time that Lewis will strength the present-day version of Ferrari's automobile, and even though it is able to not advise as an extremely good deal, given the truth that 2025 we're going to see the Maranello organization with a 99% precise idea concept. It is, nevertheless, a step inside the right course in phrases of acclimatizing to the modern-day regulation generation. What's definitely really worth noting is that Ferrari are nicely aware of Hamilton's weaknesses and are greater than ready to cope with them faster in choice. To later it truly is why they've located him through this huge finding out software underneath the TPC hints a myth that Hamilton may need to bust quicker. Instead of later is the age and the process of staying wholesome at the same time as in his 40s, and fighting for a championship weigh a few element that turn out to be delivered to attention via the usage of Felipe Massa, a former Ferrari using pressure, and Hamilton's championship protagonist yet again. In 2008, at the identical time as Speak Me About It, the Brazilian motive stress stated, "In case you asked me if I might lease Hamilton, because the top off Ferrari as a driving force, sure I may actually, due to the skills he has, he's one of the maximum superb drivers in Formula One, but because of his age, perhaps not due to his age. If you take a look at the game age subjects, and we want to recognize how Massa's age is, weighing on him in this example or not. I'm talking about myself these days. Want to teach hundreds more bodily than I used to. It is masses tougher to recover bodily after a hard race or an excessive schooling session. Age takes its toll in a few areas. This is regular age is something. This is weighed negatively on numerous drivers because it did for Schumacher. Instead, Pierre is not very worried approximately the age impact on Hamilton's tenure with Ferrari, and while addressing this case, the son of Enzo believes that Lewis may be able to discover his antique shape in no time and be aggressive right away off the bat. Positive possibilities that he may additionally need to win the championship on his first strive are a long way fetched, due to the truth he has, however, to absolutely accommodate, and to have super accept as true within the automobile, to the element of pushing it to, in reality, the maximum. However, as an alternative, if there is one purpose pressure that you can bet your life on accommodating to new machinery, at the age of 40 it need to be Lewis Hamilton. And of path, the state of affairs is now very particular in phrases of the war on the music. Due to the fact if we are to look within the personal phase of this partnership, it is most likely going to be a very fierce conflict between LIR and Hamilton, and the great masks will deliver manner as soon due to the fact the visors are set up. The front of their eyes, Lewis has one goal within the front of him, to win the 8th report-breaking championship and cement his legacy in this game as the handiest motive stress to acquire such an fulfillment. However, in keeping with Piero Ferrari, the rivalry among LIR and Hamilton isn't something that need to fear the fanatics of the Maranello group, and it's far no longer like those are going to create a poisonous environment to work in. Just like what occurred in Mercedes from 2014 to 2016 amongst Hamilton and Rosberg, whilst addressing the potential hassle for Ferrari, Piero Saido, of path there. May be a task for Elier to defeat Hamilton. It has always been like this amongst teammates. It's miles apart of the sport. In Charles's case, there may be additionally the generational trouble that we're witnessing in tennis with Sinner and different kids, the freshness of the youngsters in opposition to the revel-in and solidity of parents, which is probably some years older. I'm superb that the rivalry amongst Hamilton and Elier is probably capable of supply benefits to every. The narrative may be very similar from Fred Verrer, as nicely the Frenchman might also instead see his drivers combat for a 1W stop, then be the very last at the grid. And it's a sweet headache that every Enterprise number one ought to want to have at the grid. Though competition can very quickly emerge as a few thing malicious, and that is at the same time as the agency desires to attract its purple lines and manual one. The use of stress, the one who might be in the direction of the championship inside the using pressures lineup. Furthermore, they could have a difficult project in optimizing all in their strengths so you can win the Constructor Championship, because with a crew like McLaren, it'll possibly be the toughest assignment for Ferrari, aside from having a motive force of the top of the using strains class by way of the use of the surrender of the year. With all of this in mind, do you determined that the remarks that Lewis has furnished to the engineers in Ferrari after the crash in Barcelona will gain the organization plenty? And in that case, do you trust you studied it could pose a threat to Thea's chances to win the championship in advance? Then Lewis permit us to recognize in the comments under, and in case you're interested in Lewis's present-day crash in Barcelona and the effect it had on his integration into the Maranello Bass squad, make certain to click at the video. It virtually is appearing in your display right now.